if this was a boxing battle and we go 2 points, we should win this game because I think the team played with a lot of personality today, controlled totally the game, had the possession, had made good plays, good chances, and we were controlling the game. And this is why we have to give credit to this group, because if you want to be a top, it's not easy. It's not easy to get wins. And even that the team did a lot of things good today and deserved more than we were getting, we conceded a goal in a very unlucky thing without a call that it was weird. It was coming from a no PK call to Sam Junqua, to a foul that it wasn't clear if Farfan touches the guy. I have to double check. And then a strange bounce in front of Vima. He just get there, and even that, our team has that belief and that mentality that until the end of the whistle, you fight to get something. And this is why talking with Nkosi in the 89th, I told him in the 89th minute, please go as a forward. And sometimes teams that are brave and take risks get rewarded. And I'm really happy that our players get at least a point, because I think they put everything into this game to get more.
Well, you just heard head coach, FC Dallas head coach Nico Estevez in the post game responding to the 1-1 draw in San Jose. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Afterburn Soccer Show. I'm your host, Nathan Hill. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill. And with me tonight is our good buddy, Jose Carmona. You follow him at El Chico Carmona. Was definitely a weekend of draws for both teams, for FC Dallas and for North Texas, both away goals. And, it's been coming off of a pretty strong play. A mixed bag for North Texas, but for FC Dallas, it's been a pretty good run of form. Certainly been some mistakes, been some things that have not gone their way, and yet there's also these opportunities for them to sort of claw back a point on the road, which you take in this league. So let's just start with that San Jose match. I was a little down on this team in that game, watching it live. I remember being I was grateful for that tying goal and elated, but frustrated that the team couldn't get more going. Frustrated that the team just, should have had a goal earlier, been more dangerous, and so felt like maybe FC Dallas got a little bit lucky there at the end. And yet, with some hindsight, going back and looking at the match, I think Nico's kind of right that FC Dallas put their imprint on this match, and really were very unlucky not to have a shot go into the net. It was just a weird kind of set of circumstances to be down a goal off that bounce that Tomasi didn't handle. So I'm just curious what your thoughts were. Was this one where you just you agree with Nico that the team deserved more? Jose?
Yeah, I think they deserved more. It's just unfortunate that they gave up the goal, and that just seems to be the thing with this season is the defense, unable to, playing solidly, but still conceding something, and then the offense having to find a way to get a draw or pull out a late win. I don't know that San Jose did anything that made me think, that we were in danger of actually losing to them, and that's just a lot when you take into consideration, the people we're missing and another injury or two to boot to go out there, and considering the shape that this team was in, and to walk out with 1 point. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm excited, I'm happy with the point, but at the same time, you got to wonder, it's like, wow, if this team was in better shape, I think really what we saw on the field, this is a team that could have easily walked out of there with 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other thing. That's why. So being a little frustrated by the result, you have to temper that when you think, man, he just had the shortest bench he's ever had. I mean, just there's, starting Sam Junka as a sort of left mid or kind of whatever role, but he actually played pretty well. I got to give credit to him.
He did. He didn't look lost or anything, but it's still when you're like wondering what our shape is depth wise on the wing.
Yeah.
That's the answer. That should answer you where we're at.
Yeah, that is true. So, and missing the leadership of Martin Paz in goal. I mean, Jimmy Morrow, I think, acquitted himself as just for what he is. You kind of wish he would have done better on that Tumasi goal, but you wish Tumasi had done better too. Still the weirdest, kind of like a mental.
Yeah, but it's tough. That goal just seemed to wheel itself in. Don't know what to say other than that. It was like you said. That's why they tell you to just dump it in there, because sometimes things just go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a goal that screamed luck, but also screamed missed opportunities for FC Dallas to clear it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one, but not the first time we've seen a goal go in against FC Dallas where we're like, what was that? Where did that come from?
Right. So defensively, the team played fairly well, and it was even interesting to think that Jesus almost had another goal. If it just went off the post on that one, he had some opportunities.
Yeah. But
kind of hard too when you're playing with two holding mids. You lose Siki to an injury. It's just this team is in a tough spot, and yet you come away with a point on the road, which you would typically take in any day of the week if you can get it. So
yeah, I'll take it. I'm happy we got the point. Like I said, just part of me disappointed we didn't get 3. Part of me was disappointed we didn't get 3 against Houston. So it is what it is. But you got to take the positive is they get the point on the road. They remain a solid 4th place squad, and here's the thing about that being a solid, and by what I mean by solid 4th place is that 5th, 6th, 7th. There's no team that's gonna surpass FC Dallas with a simple win. FC Dallas would have to basically lose or draw, and they'd have to win a couple of games. So they're locked in. They're solidly a 4th place team. But the thing that gets me is the teams ahead of them, outside of LAFC, Seattle and St. Louis, they're not on sure footing. They're not like running away from FC Dallas. They're pretty much, I mean, if FC Dallas wins their next match, boom, they tie Seattle. Simple as that. Not so simple against St. Louis, but we got a game. We got to finish up against St. Louis anyway. I'm just saying this. FC Dallas is a solid 4th place squad with the potential to at least move up 1, possibly 2 spots if they can just start, if they can stay in this run of form and start getting 3 points here and there instead of draws. I think that's good. I think, as late as we're into the season, I know most of us FC Dallas fans have been worried about how the team hasn't looked great, but they've looked rock solid. I think that's what's getting us, is that the team has looked solid, but has been unable to basically put away opponents or get that second goal. And for a team that's averaging, allowing a goal a game almost, the attack has to be better.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the streams here. Clady, I don't know, yo, back at you. Welcome to Major League Soccer Chat, FC Dallas, North Texas. Hit us with any questions you got, and if they fit, we'll throw them in the show and talk about them if you want to know more. You just got to, that's why I was a little bit like frustrated that the team just couldn't find a way through earlier in the match. But I've gone back and looked at it. I listened to Nico and I sort of agree that really it's hard to be too harsh on this team right now with everything they're going through. Good news is that, at least according to what Nico shared last week, is that some guys should begin to get healthy for this team this week, that we might see Giovan Jesus get fit or at least be available, and maybe Sebastian Leggett, Paul Ariola's on the mend as well. So there's some good things happening. Of course, Martin Paz, hopefully at least he's tweeting a lot, so at least his hands are good.
Well, that's it, right? We had 4 missing starters again
Yeah.
on the road, and then one of the guys that we pushed into starting spot gets injured, and then some. Now Velasquez got to come inside. You got to bring in a left back to play left wing, and considering everything that happened, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
a point is something to be excited about. Here's what I'm excited about actually. We're on a 4-match unbeaten run. Think on that 4-match unbeaten run. Considering this team has been missing players, you know, they're less than 100%. Have been less than 100%. A team that have as fans question the depth of this team is doing just fine, missing multiple starters, you know, and I think that bodes well for this team if they can get healthy. Because the one thing you want is you want to do a run. You're like, oh, you want your
Yeah.
team to do a run. This team looks like if they get healthy, is placing itself in a position to make a kind of run. Of course, we still have the congested schedule, so the team may get healthy, but it's very clearly that this bunch of games is going to be hard to actually keep the team healthy. We'll probably get players back and lose other players like Tomas. He looked pretty bad there towards the end. And we have to be concerned whether he'll be even 100% for the next match, you know, or his backup will be 100% for the match, Giovanni Jesus. So, you know, yes, we got somebody's coming back, but of course I'm concerned that we're losing. You know, how's Siki doing too?
Yeah, how's Siki doing? And Paxton was out this past game. Hopefully it was just resting him up. He's had a lot of load on him, and it's going to be another 2-game week as. First, FC Dallas will travel to Sporting Kansas City and then be back at home for Nashville. And that Nashville match in particular, I hope, I really want the team to do well and sort of evict that ghost of the Open Cup loss, which was just a disappointing match. But what's interesting, because even though they really disappointing match, I think their streak has started since then. Is that right? I think that's right. I think that they have been unbeaten since. And so in some ways that motivated them. So Sporting Kansas City is an interesting team. They looked cooked, finished. We were talking about Vermes getting out, and while they're still not out of the woods, they did play. They did win this past weekend, and they perked up, had a couple of wins since then, and so will not be an easy matchup.
Well, games against Sporting are always chippy affairs. I mean, it's going to be a scrap. Whether you get a win or a loss or a draw, you got to be concerned with a team like us going in there. It's going to be such a scrappy match that you got to be concerned about the health of your squad coming out of there and how the judges call it. The judges can let them play, or not. So I'm expecting a really physical encounter against Sporting, and like I said, has to concern me. I hope of anything. I hope we come out of there healthy. That's my big thing with Sporting.
Well, and this might be that chance we see some guys from that have typically been playing with North Texas kind of on the back end of the roster that they may get pushed into action just to give somebody else a rest or for a part of the game.
We did have quite a few North Texas guys on the bench last game. I mean, you had Korka on there, you had Endele who made his debut. Do we have Webster, the backup? Goalkeeper was
He's
there.
He's the backup until passes. Back.
Yeah. Who else?
Oh.
Norris was on there. Yeah, we had like 3 or 4 guys from North Texas on the bench, and I mean that should tell you just how those injuries, even the small ones, they're gonna cost this team eventually. They haven't cost them currently, so I think that's. You got to give Nico credit for that.
A big gift. And maybe this would be something to watch for. And I don't know that this would be the action, but maybe you say, hey, let's give Jesus some rest. Although Jesus looks to be one of the fittest players in the squad, so maybe you don't do that. Or maybe you say Jesus play in the midfield and you start Jesus Jimenez up top. But I sure would love to see something from Jimenez just in this time to get him going. But we'll see, right? We'll see. There's just a lot of question marks how Nico is going to handle it.
I mean, I think Jesus probably one of the guys that is probably not going to be getting any rest anytime soon because we don't have anyone to spell him. I mean, Jimenez hasn't shown that he can handle it. I mean, our second leading scorer on the team is one of our center backs. So, so that should tell you that this team really cannot afford to sit for at all. And then we're probably going to lose him once is that Nations League coming up. So yeah, part of me is like, yeah, give him a rest, but on the other hand, it's like we can't really afford to. We can't really afford. He's the one guy that we can't afford to sit because we don't have anyone to replace him. Period.
Well, and that'll be a chance for one of these young guys to step up, and we'll see what the team does. But let's use that chance then to shift over to North Texas, because while FC Dallas has been dealing with their injury crisis, North Texas has had to deal by just drawing upon and relying on those young guys. A 2-match week for them, draws for them, lost penalty shootouts, which are kind of a lottery anyway. But really, actually, I think even with North Texas, the draws are disappointing, and yet this is a really young team. To be able to come back and to draw games, or to go up against Colorado Rapids 2-3 times, the only unbeaten team in MLS Next Pro right now, one of the best teams in MLS Next Pro. Like there's been some really good performances despite the defensive errors, and this weekend on Sunday, it was a defensive error in the first 3 minutes. It just led to a goal, an easy goal,
yeah, those errors are a concern because the attack has gotten underway for North Texas. I mean, their attack, I believe they have the 8th best attack in MLS Next Pro, if I remember correctly, but they have the 5th worst defense. So it's tough to win games when you're consistently allowing 2 and 3 goals per game, which is what's happening here. We're not talking about they're allowing 1 goal or anything like that. We're talking they're allowing multiple goals per game, and the attack has found a way to sort of get itself going and keep this team in games, but they got to figure out how to fix up that defense. I'm not sure what the issue is with it. It's just breakdowns, really. I know from what I've seen from the team is that our left back and our right back are more offensive minded type fullbacks as opposed to defensive stalwarts, and that could be, I'm not saying that's the issue, but that could be one of the issues. Is you've got the back line, for whatever reason, whoever we pair up, they don't seem to be on the same page at all times. And when you've got left back and right back that are better offensively than defensively, that's not going to help. It falls on whoever our number 6 is to do a better job, and that would be Saint, I believe. And Norris has been playing there some also, and it's just not. I mean, you see signs that these are tough teams. That they're getting a point in St. Louis is a good result. Rapids are just really good team. They're the best team in the West right now. So even a draw against them hurts, but it's not a terrible result. And so I think North Texas is starting to point in the right direction. They're getting some results. They're just unable to put teams away yet, which is very similar to what FC Dallas is doing, if you think about it.
Yeah, and I think not the question mark we had for FC Dallas was some of their defensive lapses was when you don't have that sort of core set of guys who can get into rhythm and develop how they communicate, how they can work together, because you've had multiple goalkeepers start for North Texas. You've had multiple center back
Three
pairings.
different ones. Three different
Yeah,
ones. Three different goalkeepers start.
yeah, and so it's just it's a tricky thing to do. And these are all young guys. That's what we say. Like they're teenage. Some of them are teenagers, and we're not saying like 19-year-olds. We're saying like 16, 17-year-olds. But the kids are rising to the challenge. I love that Nairobi Vargas it does seem like a really legit. He's only 17, so there's still some time, but he's a really legit talent striker. He just is doing some good work.
He's honestly, the hype on him has been growing since he got called up by is it Honduras, I think. I could be wrong there, but he was lighting it up in youth national team play, and that carried right on to him coming back. And honestly, he's got to be one of the players that you got to sign to a homegrown contract. Really, he's got to be up there. One of your, of course, Eyestone is a guy you want to get, and there's only so many you can sign. So I would hope that they try to sign Vargas to either a homegrown contract or what they did with Ursua, which everyone suspects is a hybrid contract where he signed to North Texas, but you know the year after or the year after that he'll be joining the senior team. So yeah, very excited about Vargas and what he's doing, and definitely a guy that should be one of the top must sign homegrowns.
He has size on his side, and he can really occupy those center backs and help create space. Diego Pepe came in right off the bench, scored a goal. I almost wanted to ask him about his brother Ricardo and said, "Hey, what do you know? Where's Ricardo going?" But Diego scored his first professional goal with North Texas, so congratulations to him. But he just noted that when he came in on that goal where he was able to score the tap in pretty much on the back post, that that both center backs are following Nairobi, and that just shows you how much even teams are going like, oh, this kid maybe 17, but he can score against us, so we have to follow him and track him, and that creates space for other players. So to go down 2 goals and come back 2 for a young team. Because there were points earlier in the season where they went down 3 goals or 2 goals and they gave up 2 more goals.
And they folded. Yeah. You know what's exciting about this match against St. Louis? I know it was just a draw, and it's a draw they rallied from. But like you said, it was an extremely young team, even by North Texas standards. All the U18 guys on the starting roster were Eyestone. You had Baker, who started at center back next to Santos. He's an academy kid. Got his, I think it's his second start. I believe he started the previous match also. And then you've got you got Ursua, who's 17, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Garcia and Hernandez, both again 17, 16. Anthony Ramirez was on there. He started. So did Vargas. Like I said, again, 2 U18 guys. And then you had Pepe, who came off the bench, who's also another teenager, and really because of the short week, North Texas had to lean on some of the academy kids and some of their younger players, and for them to go on the road and get 2 points with such a young squad, that's what this team has. You get a result on the road. And you get experience. Most importantly, you get experience for those young players coming up, which is what North Texas does the best. It's sad that the results aren't, W's like we like to. But at the same time, on the developmental front, this team is winning on that. And you're not. Some of the teams that they play against is basically a couple of guys that are signed to MLS Next Pro contracts and a bunch of players from the reserve, from the senior roster squad that are loaned down. Who are you developing? You're not developing anybody. Your reserves are basically staying in shape for when they have to play for the senior team. You're not seeing that with North Texas. North Texas is doing what we want a reserve team to do, giving the young players an opportunity to go out there, play a professional team, play on hostile environment, and learn from going down and learning all those hard things that come with being professional, how to deal with that. So
Yeah.
in the long
Yeah.
run, I think it's good for North Texas.
Well, and the other wrinkle, of course, was that Tyshawn Rose earned a second yellow card, and wasn't. I couldn't see well from the feed. I didn't think it looked like a second yellow, but um, it was a late challenge, and Tyshawn has been a really steadfast there at left back. Has been a strong player this season for North Texas. Coach Cano said that's one of the crises that they'll have to deal with this week is who's going to play left back. That with guys away with the first team, there's not a lot
Yeah,
of
but
options.
yes, but they do have a couple of kids, that have started from the academy. So my guess is that's their most likely way that they'll go is they'll simply have one of the academy kids start at left back. Or I I wouldn't be surprised if they play Norris there. He's played left back also. So
Hmm.
there are options for them, mostly
Yeah, and he
younger
mentioned
options.
Costa. Costa has played there a bit
Yep.
and could
Yeah. Yeah, they
step
have
in.
several guys that have played there, that have experience there, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
But yeah, hey, I love watching North Texas just because you are just watching young guys, really on both sides, both teams, just work, gain experience, and try to start a run of play that catapults them to the next level. And so there's just something that's pure and really fun about it, and especially when guys do something amazing. It's just really cool to watch. It is soccer in
And
its
if they
pure
get
form.
if they do well in North Texas, they play well. Look at Endeley. He's looked really great at North Texas, and then he gets rewarded by earning his first senior MLS minutes.
Hmm.
And that's great. I mean, that's what these kids can see, that they can see, hey, one of the guys that was loaned down played well enough, he got given minutes. Maybe I'm the next guy, because some of these kids, they get invited to train with a senior, with a senior roster from time to time, and so they're given a chance to impress. And if they can show they can dominate at this level, then like Vargas is showing right now, that's pretty exciting, because unlike last year when we had the disconnect between the senior team and the reserve team, we don't have that this year. So there's chances for other players similar to Endeley to impress in North Texas and get their first pro minutes
Hmm. Hmm.
with FC Dallas, especially with the congested schedule.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I think that kind of does it for the main portion of the show. Of course, Sporting Kansas City awaits on Wednesday, and then of course this weekend at home for Nashville. We'll chat about those matches. But first, of course, there's some rumors swirling around. One of the rumors we didn't really talk about. I think we missed the pod last week, but that there's rumors of Serie A team Napoli is interested in Jesus Ferreira. Which, of course, what does that mean? Does it mean they're tracking him? Does that mean they're keeping an eye on him? Does that mean they're going to make a bid for him this summer? Who knows? A lot of it's just a rumor, and it could just be agent talk or something like that. But then the other two or three pieces that affect FC Dallas is rumors about a lot of movement among the United States men's national team, which means Ricardo Pepi is likely going to get sold from Augsburg. There's a couple of teams that have expressed interest, and he's had a really strong season, 13 goals, and then Brian Reynolds, who kind of got benched almost immediately when he went to Serie A, has kind of reemerged on a nice loan deal. He's gotten a lot of minutes, experience, done well, and there's some conversation about his future move, which could send some cash to FC Dallas, and finally Reggie Cannon as well. There's always talk about him moving from Boa Vista. So, I mean, it feels like, especially with Pepe and with Reynolds, at least there's two really strong possibilities for FC Dallas to get a little extra income this summer from those transfer clauses that they've had for sell-on fees. The question will be, how do they use that if it happens, and is that a nice boost for them to play with this summer to strengthen this squad for a playoff run? I mean, so are these just things just smoke right now for you, Jose, or you think we're going to see a lot more stuff heat up over the next month?
No, we're gonna get a lot more stuff heating up. Not just this, and it's really important for some of these moves to happen for FC Dallas because let's face it, we all know that the Hunts aren't big spenders, and the only time they've spent is when they've made a big sale, like when they sold Pepe initially, or Reynolds initially, and they had that money from those sales, and then they would go out and spend. And let's face it, this team looks like the FC Dallas looks like they're one, possibly two key additions from making that step up. You know, where we're right now, we're fourth place, but honestly, to compete to put themselves in a spot where they can be seen as a serious threat towards reaching MLS Cup. I think we can all agree that a couple of players need to be added for that to happen. It's not going to happen unless there's money coming in, and so these moves in Europe, that potential moves, we should be cheering them on right now. Reynolds, uh, his rumor has a lot more behind it than any of the other rumors. I forgot who's interested in him, but the rumor is that they already have a loan uh, destination for him. So he'll supposedly they'll sign him and send him out to loan immediately, and it's supposed to be right there, either that same the either Netherlands or Belgium is supposed to be one of those countries. They're supposed to already have uh, a spot for him. So and I mean a player like that, they don't want to be signed and wonder what's going to happen with them. They want to know
Sure.
what they're signing up for. And so Reynolds, it looks like there's a path and a destination for him. Pepe, we're hearing Feyenoord and PSV are supposedly both interested in him. The big question is, can they afford him? You know, I mean, don't forget Augsburg paid 20 million, and 20 million from either of those teams doesn't sound like the kind of money they would spend. I'm not saying they won't spend a lot, but 20 million isn't it. So you're looking probably where they're going to want to do a big
Yeah.
sell on clause or something like that. And like I said, we don't know how big of deals these would be if they go through, but it's money that'll help Dallas. The one that's I'm most interested in is Reggie Cannon. There's interest hitting up for him in Turkey, and if he's sold, I mean, Boa Vista still hasn't paid FC Dallas a penny for that transfer. So I'm sure any transfer they manage to sell is going to see Dallas get some cash coming in. And they had a hefty clause on him. It was like either 40 or 50% sell on clause. So I mean, they might as well just sign the whole check over to FC Dallas and call it a day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, and that's just it. You know, it's we got the Ferreira to Napoli rumors. I mean, these rumors are just gonna get
Yeah.
get out there. You know, maybe most of them won't amount to anything, but there is zero doubt that there's interest in Pepe to move. Whether Augsburg will sell him or not, that's really the only question. There's absolutely teams out there that want him. There's teams that want Reynolds, and I don't doubt that there's some interest in Cannon. I just don't know how high that interest is.
Mm-hmm. Well, good stuff. It's gonna be fun to see kind of these things trickle through over the next month or so.
I also wanna throw in there that let's not forget the U20 World Cup's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and Justin Che has started two of the three matches at center back, not at right back, not at le- left mid, right mid, but at center back, and he's looked good. The back line, I believe they were the only team to not allow a single goal in group stage. So Che is out there doing what he has to do to remind people that hey, he's still a high end prospect, you know. And so of all the players that you know Dallas could possibly sell, Che is probably the one that will bring in the most, uh, considering all the other ones who were counting on selling clauses. So we should be excited to see Che doing what he needs to do to
Right.
elevate his status and remind people that hey, I'm still a high end prospect. Started three matches and two of the three matches and against the two toughest opponents. And while he wasn't the standout of the back line, the whole back line looked great. So So I want to say he had a excellent first game and had a solid second game. And the team's advanced. Will they play New Zealand next? You know, gotta watch Che. You know, as far as this team can go, the further this team goes, the higher the odds that Che and some of his fellow players on that roster get draw significant interest from Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm all for that.
Well, we do need to leave it there. I know we got two matches this week. We'll do match predictions on the blog at some point, and it should be an interesting week to watch and see what happens and see who gets healthy for FC Dallas. So we appreciate everyone watching. Please be sure to subscribe for free on afterburn.soccer. It's our Substack page, and we'll post our audio there tomorrow from this. And like us, subscribe us, share us. We want to grow this conversation. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.